Boom. It's just preseason, but the Knicks got their first look and logged their first win in Abu Dhabi, beating the 76ers 99 to 84. The score doesn't matter, but the impressions absolutely do. Welcome to the post-game analysis. Tonight was all about evaluation, and we saw early dynamics of the front court. Cat looked comfortable, but the real story was Mitchell Robinson's 16 rebound dominance. Was that the most successful test case of the night? And the bench battle has officially begun. Miles McBride was fantastic. Did he separate himself from the rest of the guard rotation? We're breaking down Jalen Brunson's leadership and what these first 48 minutes means for the rest of the season ahead. Drop your MVP, most valuable preseason player, in the chat now. Like and subscribe. The post-game evaluation starts now. I can't even ask Fraz to do the thing. Somebody got to do it.
Mic check 1, 2. Tell these rappers I'm outside, get them start acting up. Turning hoes to housewives, I'm cleaning the ratchet up. Do it off from boom back the melody rap. Think I'll put you in the box, then you might as well pack it up. Bars having bars, no cap, I'm Attica, you a precinct. How y'all competing when y'all just decent? Your rhyme efficiency's like logic simplicity. Don't tell me how much that you black, cause I don't see it. That's it. Fuck the ball. Fuck everybody on the front. When we stand on the finals, bring that same energy, nigga.
I got his big Fraz again. Yeah. Live and direct on your YouTube screen is your favorite Knicks N Ish panel. We're going to start off with the first lady of Knicks N Ish, Mrs. Knicks in the building. And absolutely the infamous Knickerbocker Ave. And you can't forget our host, the one and only Tea Time.
I'm a smart plug.
We in the building. Shout out to everybody in the building. I'm going to get to the shout outs in a second. But, today we had the first preseason game. The Knicks versus 76ers. Might I say it felt so good, even though it was preseason, to watch the Knicks on my TV, on my phone. Matter of fact, I was about to say my TV, but on my phone.
You were working, bro.
I was at work. I was tucked off in my little corner. Like, don't bother me right now. Don't bother me right now. You feel me? But it was good to see, and it was also good to get that dub. You feel me? It was also good to get that dub. That's me, my fault, y'all. It was good to get that dub, but I'm trying to multitask. But yeah, it was good to get the dub. It was good to see, what Mike Brown's thought process may begin to look like with this roster and the rotation. But before we get to the panel and some questions, let me get my shout outs going. You know what I mean? Shout out to my guy Mike Brown in the building. You know the vibes, homie.
What up, good? What's good, Mike?
Yeah. Sis Darlene is in the building.
Of course. If Mrs. Knicks is the first lady, I think she's like 1.5 because she's up there.
Yeah. And then we got Walter Oliver in the building.
Wilton. What's good, bro?
Wilton, my fault. I said Walton. My bad. Yeah. But anyway, anywho's, you feel me? Boom. So now to my panel, right? We're gonna start off nice and smooth. Yeah, I mean, I think most of us was in agreement that who we wanted to see in the front court at the starting five. But what is, your thought process on, Mitch starting at the five with Cat? Yeah, I mean, does this give you like this is going to be it? for the season, what you saw today, or do you think there's room for tinkering, or is Cat best suited at the 5?
I think this is it. I mean, we said it last season whenever Mitch was coming back off an injury that he should have started, and we understood why he didn't last season, right? He was on a super minute restriction. What we had going with Josh starting was working. Not saying it wouldn't work, but why not maximize everyone's potential, right? Like, why not have him there? It helps mask, like you always say, T-Time, Cat's defensive lapses, right? Having Mitch there to back him up. Having Mitch there to put back shots, right? Because Cat is the stretch. Cat is not always down into the paint. And so we need someone there to rebound. You can't always put that on a smaller player like Josh or Mikal or OG. And so I liked it. I mean, 16 rebounds, like in a preseason game. He came playing no games today. And then even what he gave us offensively, what I always say, if we can get something close to 10 points from Mitch or from our bigs, and he gave us 7, I'm good with it. I'm good with it because we were the top offensive starting 5 in the league last year with him giving us nothing. So him giving us
he wasn't there.
10, I'm with it.
Yeah.
Well, he wasn't there. He missed the first 60-something games of the season.
No. Yeah, I know.
But let's just how do I evaluate this this preseason game, because it is a preseason game, and you don't take too much out of this, but like T-Time says, we're really just evaluating. I mean, the victory was nice, the performance was nice, but we're just evaluating the talent that we have on the roster. And just so we can start off, everybody, please do me a favor: like, comment, subscribe. Sharing is caring. And if you haven't already done so, check out the Knicks N Ish Shopify. Make sure you do that, and copy some merch. Because ladies and gentlemen, the season we've been waiting for our whole lives has just begun.
The season of destiny.
The season of destiny has just begun.
With the capital NY at the end.
That's what I'm saying. So, I like to start off first by saying that this team, even though it's preseason, it doesn't take a rocket scientist, it doesn't take an NBA analyst, doesn't take a former NBA champion, doesn't take anybody. If you got a set of 2 eyes and know basketball and love basketball, you can tell this team is going to be an effing problem. They're going to be a problem up and down this Eastern Conference, as with the depth that they added on this team. If you thought the starting 5 was a problem now, look at that bench. Look at how these guys performed off the bench. And give it, it's preseason. You knew that Jalen Brunson wasn't going to play more than 20 minutes. You knew that Karl-Anthony Towns wasn't going to play more than 15, 18 minutes. You knew that. You knew that going in. But the fact is that you look at what the talent that they have assembled on that bench to fortify that second and third unit. You, as a Knicks fan, David, Philadelphia has their problems. Philadelphia has a crap load of guards. They have like 30 guards playing on that team. They didn't have Joel Embiid. They didn't have Paul George. So yes, the Knicks should have won. But just look at how you play you play against the opposition that you're facing, and at that point, they had no answer under any circumstance on how to guard Karl-Anthony Towns, how to guard Jalen Brunson, how to guard Mikal Bridges. They couldn't do anything with Deuce. They couldn't do shit with Jordan Clarkson. They couldn't do shit with Yabusele, and they know him. They played with him all year last year. You saw this team mostly on the second and third units, the majority of the second half, play cohesive basketball. They were playing basketball. They weren't playing that same stagnant offense that that most of you complained all of the last 5 years that Tom Thibodeau played. Now they were playing something else. They were all movement. The floor spacing was impeccable. The passing was crisp. Yes, there were a couple of turnovers here and there. Of course, it's the first game, ring rust, and jet lag will do that to you. If you've ever flown the UAE where they were in Abu Dhabi, it's a killer of a flight. And then on top of that, they had a practice right after that. So kudos to them for being prepared. But I looked at this team, all the players, Malcolm Brogdon, Alex Len, Garrison Mathews, of course, Deuce McBride, Jordan Clarkson, Gershon Albaselli. It's like deep down, I want to keep all these guys. They could all contribute something, but we all know that some guys are going to get cut, coming in the coming weeks. But I'm really impressed with so far what the system could look like. And considering what Mike Brown's initial thoughts upon reaction in the presser right after, he said that they could have been faster. And that's a scary thought because even at that pace, scoring only 99 points, if they could have been faster, how much would they? If they would have played at full speed with the full roster, how many points could they have really scored?
All right. So boom. My follow-up to that, right? My follow-up question to, the front court.
You're not going to answer your own question?
I mean, I've been answering this question even since last season when Mitch was coming back. He should be starting. Yeah, I mean, that's why I stand and that's why I remain. He's the best offensive rebounding center in the game. And you don't just have that sitting on the bench. You feel me? Like he changes the way teams game plan for the Knicks. You feel me? Like he makes them have to game plan for him specifically. We got to crash multiple people on the defensive boards. That also stops transition a little bit when you got to send 3-4 guys at the defensive board because Mitchell Robinson might get the rebound. Like you feel me? Like he might get the old board. I mean, so I absolutely believe he should be a starter, right? So my next question is still with the front court. It just has more to do with Cat. Cat today looked, efficient but kind of reserved. Mike Brown expressed that he wanted to use him as a playmaking four. Do you think that we've seen enough at him as a playmaking four to sell us on like that's what he needs to do for the rest of the season, or does he need a higher usage for him to reach his ceiling on this team?
Honestly, I think that you do need to utilize him a little bit more, especially as a decoy. I mean, you already know that he is probably the best shooting big man in the NBA, probably ever. I wouldn't give him the crown completely yet, but he's among one of the best. Secondly, since he is a deep threat on the floor at all times, you have to put somebody on him, and you can't put somebody at 6'3" and below. You need somebody who's 6'8" with a 7-foot wingspan, and somebody who can box him out a little bit and make him a little bit uncomfortable. So, which is kind of interesting because he was announced tonight, this afternoon, as the center, and Mitchell Robinson was announced as the power forward, but that's not what they played. But I liked the way that that give and go of they both went into the paint and played the five, but at the same time, they did switch off at the four, and I think that with Mike Brown's system of ball movement and consistent player movement, I think that you're going to be seeing that a lot, especially given the specific matchup. And I know right now, ladies and gentlemen, you have to forgive our host. He is watching the Yankee game on the side. The Yankees are up 4-0 right now, over the Boston Red Sox. So it's a little bit tough because we're covering the preseason game. We're not talking Ish anymore. We're talking more Knicks. But Ish is still happening, and it's very important to hear in New York. So,
yeah. So,
to go to back to that, I think maybe use him a little bit more, because I think when Cat is in his bag, nobody can stop him. Nobody can stop him. He gives teams fits. So I think use him a little more. I don't know. I think I need to see a little bit more of the offense come together, to be honest. Like, to see what we can do and what we should do, or what I think we should do. But seeing it today, it was so fresh. I need to go back and look again. But I think I just think Cat overall beats out everybody at the 4 position. He's unstoppable. When he's in his bag and he's focused, he's unstoppable. So
yeah,
it's so hard to say because we have so many players we can feed, right? Like,
yeah, that's a fact. So I'm kind of like borderline with this. I think there needs to be a careful balance.
Based on our opposition.
I mean,
based on who we're playing.
I just think throughout the season in general, I think it needs to be a careful balance of when Cat needs to be aggressive and when he needs to be a playmaker. I think both of those could, help us greatly. Especially like as hard. Well, they said they want to give. Mike Brown said he wanted to give, JB easy buckets. I imagine that still goes with Cat too. But watching how hard Cat had to work for buckets last season, I would like him to have been more of a playmaker at times, just to kind of give his, body some time to rest for later on in the game. But I think a lot of benefits could come from having a 4 that could pass the ball. Yeah, I mean, from the low post, from the top of the key, with guys coming and cutting off screens. He missed a good pass today too. I think it was JB. He led him just a little bit too far. Like JB man got screened. JB was cut to the hole, and he just led him a little bit too far. I was like, now that's the kind of plays that we trying to get JB. Yeah, I mean, because that'd have been an easy 2 points right there. But I think it got to be a careful balance between, when Cat has to score and when he has to play make. But
I think also you have to factor in is that it can't just be on Cat, because Cat is such a focal point now as it is. He he is the second leading scorer on this team. Everybody knows what his capabilities are. So it's really incumbent upon the offense, the rest of the other 3 guys, to get JB easy buckets, because. And I think you're going to be able to see that, because I need to see that more from Mikal Bridges. I need to see that a little bit more from OG Anunoby. And I mean, I know that this is like pulling teeth here, but I need to see a little bit of that from Mitchell Robinson. All those guys can, if they can contribute to contributing JB's success in getting easier buckets, where he doesn't have to, dribble the air out of the ball. He doesn't have to work out, break down defenses by himself. He doesn't have to do all those things. If all 5 guys are committed to doing that for each other, which you saw a little bit of that today, this is going to be that magical season that we keep on talking about. This could definitely be the team. This is the Knicks team that we've been craving for not just our whole lives, but since the '73 team when they were doing it.
Yeah. And I think, just to tie back in with your first question, I think that's why it's important to have Mitch in that starting lineup, right? Because it makes their center or their person have to stay on Mitch. Even though he's not an offensive threat, you still have to have a body on him for rebounding purposes, right? Where we've seen last year and the year before where teams don't respect Josh's presence at all, and so they'll fall off him and help defense or double team, triple team JB or Cat, and that option isn't going to be there this year because our whole starting 5 are threats somehow, some way. Maybe not completely offensively, but again with Mitch, your big has to stay on him, or else he's feasting putbacks all night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that will help with the teams not being able to throw 3 people at JB. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. So with that being said, you know, the Sixers shot horrible from 3 tonight, but
They
a
shot
counter for
horrible altogether.
They shot horrible altogether. They were horrible.
yeah, that's a fact. But in particularly 3-point, because it ties into my next point. That's why I mentioned that specifically, right? So, or my next question. So, a counter to having the double big lineup, we know which is the easiest counter in the world, is going small ball. And against better shooting teams, is that like what do our rebounding advantage outweigh the limitations that it may cause on defense against a small ball lineup to keep Mitch in there versus like substituting and having Josh start and Mitch coming off the bench?
I mean, I don't really think it matters. I think we put in what works against who we're playing. And again, just because Mitch starts doesn't mean he's gonna finish, right? Doesn't
Yeah,
mean he's gonna get the majority of the minutes. Just means he starts. Um, so I think depending on who we're playing, we can adjust. Maybe not who's starting, but who gets the majority of time. If they playing small and we feel like offensively we need to match that, we have the firepower. It's an easy adjustment, right?
yeah,
Um, whereas if we're playing a team like the Sixers that have an Embiid or a Milwaukee with a Giannis where you want a bigger body on the court, then you have Mitch there instead of Josh, or Mitch there instead of Jordan Clarkson or Deuce or whomever. We just have so many pieces that if used and intertwined and matched to your opponent properly, their teams are not even going to be able to be prepared for us because they're not going to know what's going to be thrown at them.
To piggyback off of that, that's the reason why Mike Brown is even here, and why it's being discussed so heavily because he does, utilize, a huge motion offense. So, to answer your question, the rebounding numbers are going to outweigh the shooting because first of all, whoever we're playing against, they have to shoot over those big guys. I mean, you're talking about 2 7-foot guys with 7'6" wingspans.
yeah,
Plus, you have an OG Anunoby and a Mikal Bridges who's our temporary wing stop. If you have a dominant point guard, a la Stephen Curry or Damian Lillard, that might come as a problem. Tyrese Maxey, if Philadelphia were healthy, then it might be a little bit of a problem. But because of the fact that Mike Brown is emphasizing speed, motion, ball movement, and all those things, you're going to have to adjust to the Knicks. The Knicks are not necessarily going to have to adjust to you that often because if they know what works, and on top of that, this is not the Tom Thibodeau Knicks where they're going to be stubborn in their own ways and they're going to be stagnant and they're going to be playing a lot of iso ball. You have to do that for 2 to 3.5 quarters, and then when it comes down to crunch time, now you have to deal with the beast of Jalen Brunson in isolation, and now you're adding more additional weapons because if Jordan Clarkson has it going, if Garrison Mathews makes the team that gets it going, if Malcolm Brogdon has it going, if Deuce has it going, if Josh Hart is just out rebounding everybody on the floor, all this stuff is quashed, and now the opposition has to adjust to the Knicks. They have to be able to figure a way to work around the twin towers of Mitchell Robinson and Karl-Anthony Towns. You have to work around the wing stop of Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby. And you have to worry about the offensive prowess of Jalen Brunson, who you already know is a reigning clutch player of the year, and that firepower bench. If Brogdon is healthy, if Deuce is healthy, if Josh Hart is healthy, if all these guys are healthy, they have to adjust to the Knicks. Am I saying the Knicks will never have to adjust? Obviously, they will. It's 82 games. They're going to have those moments. But more often than not, you're going to see other opposing teams having to adjust to the Knicks because they're going to be throwing a different set of lineup. Even though some of the players are still the same, it's a different system. They're not doing the same old thing.
So, I do, to answer the question, I do think like the Knicks will be okay regardless of the lineup. But there is something to be concerned about. Like you mentioned, like the dominant guards and the star players of this league, they like to mismatch hunt. And if you got you got two bigs out there that we know that's not going to be able to keep up with the likes of, even though he's injured, I'm going to use his name of Tyrese Halliburton, the Damian Lillard, Trey Young, like
John Morant.
the John Morant, like these are two players. I mean, those are, we have two players on our team as bigs that are, mismatches for those guys. So I think there is cause to kind of like sometimes be concerned and be like, yeah, we might have to get one of these guys off the court if they're hunting one of those matchups, right? But I think with Mitch, though, he moves well enough that I don't think you want to go at him every play of the game. You feel me? Like, there's not like, if you get the mismatch every once in a while, you're like, I bet I'm going to try to take advantage of this. But I don't think that's the cause, like, yo, every time down, we going to hunt this mismatch. The same can't be said for Cat, but
that's painful, bro. That's too painful. That's too painful for them.
Yeah, but but I just think that is a cause to keep your eyebrow up and be like, sometimes we might have to, do something a little different. Might have to shake up the rotation just a little bit.
Well, that's the beauty. That's the reason why you bring a guy like a Gershon Yabusele, because a guy who's agile enough and he can guard 1 through 4. Sometimes you can play the 5 if you want to go small. You have Ariel Huckporty, who at times, in the limited minutes that he played last year, he didn't show you a lot, but he showed you that he had heart and he can do something, and he will give you 6 fouls. That's not a problem for him. You have enough guys there that that can supplement and still move. That way, you don't lose too much offensively on the other end. But I understand what you're saying. If they do the mismatch hunting and they catch Karl-Anthony Towns, especially when you get to the foul trouble, that's when the adjustment has to be made. And but I think that the Knicks are very well put together in comparison to years past, that there's enough guys on this roster to fill in whenever that situation occurs. I mean, I don't foresee the Knicks going 82-0. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying that each game is going to be a little bit more competitive than some of the performances that the Knicks put up last year or in years past.
Yeah. All right. So, to keep things moving right along, I mean, there's a lot of decisions that need to be made with our bench. Who stays, who goes, who get minute, who don't. And one of those hot topics that we spoke about this summer or this off season, well, coming recently, more recently than not, right? Was Deuce. Is he going to be trade bait? Deuce was the highest, all it be in preseason. Let's keep that in mind. I don't want to make it sound like the way I talk about these things, like I'm blowing up out of proportion what has happened. But we know it's preseason, but he was the highest scorer on the game, 12 points, 3 steals, and he was a plus 11 coming off the bench. Does this performance kind of lock him into the roster, or does his trade value still stands too high for us to keep him if we're trying to keep Malcolm and Shaman?
Mama Knicks?
Deuce stays.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care about his trade value. I don't care about none of that. Deuce stays. Today he was on one. He made me a proud mama. And I mean, come on. For what we paid him, what, $3 million? He's worth every penny of that $3 million.
He's worth more.
He's worth every penny of it. I think it comes down to it. Knicks gonna have a hard choice. Malcolm or Shamet. Make that decision, but Deuce stays. Period.
I got a question about Malcolm and Shamet too. So let's save
No,
the
I'm not
Malcolm
gonna go
and
there.
Shamet.
I'm not going there.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going. I'm just saying front office gotta make a decision, and I feel like they value Deuce a lot. You know what I mean? He could have been gone with Quentin. He could have been gone with Quickly and RJ and them. Every team last year and the season before wanted Deuce in every trade that we heard. And somehow, some way, we were able to keep him. And for the price that we kept him, bro, there's no way I move him. There's no way I move him. I think the Knicks purposefully started Daddy Packham to see how he will play for one, see if that would gain interest, because his money is right up there with Deuce. So you know what I mean? Like it could be him and not Deuce. I think that was very strategic of them. I don't think that was by accident. But no, I don't care. I do not care what happens. Deuce is a Knick this season.
The harsh reality is that yes, the Knicks do have a huge roster issue, and they need to make a move. The reason why Deuce McBride is actually just even being mentioned is because he is probably the most valuable trade asset that we have. But here's the kicker of that, folks. He's not the only one. Mrs. Knicks just mentioned it. Mikal Bridges started today because OG Anunoby's on day-to-day with a hand injury. Maybe that was a tryout. Tyler Kolek is available. There's also a harsh reality that people don't ever mention. The Knicks are $3.77 million under the second apron. In order for them to kind of avoid that, they have to get rid of that to make the adjustments. They could just go over the second apron, and just say, you know what, this is the team we're going to go with. We're going to go into the luxury tax. This is the team that we feel with. The only reason we're having this
last season, why not right now? We felt we felt that way last year. I definitely would take it this year. Why not right now?
And shout out to my boy, the man I call Domstradamus. You catch him on ours Untitled and on the Bleed Blue show. But he's absolutely right. If you're going to go over the second apron and pay into the luxury tax, why not now? If you strongly believe and feel that this roster with this coach under these circumstances is going to take you to finally bring the Larry O'Brien back to Madison Square Garden, why not? So they can do it, but they always want to keep that cap flexibility for whatever reason. So I think that it would take some more finagling and maneuvering. It would have to finding a trade partner. And also maybe utilizing some of those second-round picks that the Knicks still have. The Knicks have a couple of them. They don't have a lot. Obviously we gave a lot of those picks, and we always say fuck them picks, when we sent them to Brooklyn for Mikal Bridges. Sure. But we do have a couple of them. And we have a couple of pick swaps here and there. So it may take some maneuvering. It may need finding a sucker, and it may need to some kind of finagling on Leon Rose. But in this case, in Leon we trust. I trust Leon Rose to make the wise decision in order for him to keep this roster intact with Deuce McBride, with Malcolm Brogdon, and or Landry Shamet.
I think Deuce's shooting is way too valuable. That kid is a sniper. He's a really good shooter, man. Like, that kid is a sniper.
And a quick one, too. Quick draw, my eyes.
Quick draw over defense. It don't matter. You feel me? That kid's a sniper, and I think that's way too valuable for us to trade away. I know it's only the first preseason game, but I also think that's an eye opener too. He came out gunning. First two, swap. Like, I was like, oh, okay. Oh, so you just don't need no need to warm up, huh? Just no need. You're already ready to go. Like to see that. You feel me? Like, but I do think he's one of our homegrown. I respect that. That does mean something. I think that has to count for something. It's not like he's a bum. It's not like he doesn't add any value. I think the style of play with how Mike Brown likes defense, Look how the way that they ran the Ellis kid in sack. They had him pressing full court all game. You feel me? And that's the way Deuce likes to play defense. He likes to guard full court. You know what I mean? And you have a player that could do that. Nobody else, I said this in one of the other shows. Nobody else on our roster could guard full court all game. You might Josh maybe Mikal. Maybe. And those are maybes. Very shaky maybes. But we know for certain Deuce can do that all game, pick up full court and guard. And I think that's valuable. I think his shooting is valuable. Again, all being preseason, getting 3 steals is nothing to sneeze at too. You feel me? That's one part of the game I thought that he could, improve as a defender, is causing more turnovers. It's one thing to be there. There's another thing to be there and be disruptive. But yeah, I think Deuce stays, in my opinion. Is this enough to guarantee it? I don't think so, but I think this is, a good starting point to make that case. But moving on, keeping the topic, it's the same topic.
Plus, I need to wear my jersey to at least one game.
But you know what?
Don't be like that.
But you know what? On top of that, I mean, it's more than just this one preseason game. The last 3 years of Miles Deuce McBride, from the time that he spent in the summer league, the time he spent in the G League, from the time that he ascended into that bench role, the 6th or 7th man off the bench, that should just give you an indication. That's not going to stop teams from calling and asking if we can have a Deuce McBride. I imagine that's going to be a continuous thing over the season, and as long as he's a Knick, until he signs like a big money contract, that's going to be something that's going to continuously be happening. Yeah. But I honestly feel that that Deuce McBride I think Leon Rose kind of looks at him as like that's his project son. If JB is his godson, Deuce is like his project son. It's like, I'm grooming you into being my son, because everything else that's happened to him is quite evident. Again, summer league, from him being drafted to the summer league, to the G League, to being like the 13th man, to him being the 6th or 7th man, he's shown and he's ascended. It's a great promise. It's gonna get teams asking about him. But I think the Knicks, Leon, Gerson, and Rob Wesley are going to be looking at us like, you're going to have to offer me something more than cash considerations if you want Deuce McBride on your team.
They can call all they want. I'm going to be the secretary. He ain't available. Click.
I know that. We all know that.
He ain't available.
Yeah.
But then again, she would do that same shit with Shop either, but it happened.
So check it, right? So boom, Landry Shamet and Malcolm Brogdon. So we're saying that we're going to keep Deuce. So this opens up the possibility if nobody else get moved, right? Let's hypothetically, if nobody else get moved, and we got to make a decision between Landry Shamet or Malcolm Brogdon. And again, I'm just asking for knee-jerk reactions. It's nothing to really be taken super serious. It's first preseason game. But they both played. Who was, for lack of the better word, who was the biggest loser today between those two? Who hurt their standings the most in the race? If it is the way for them to be hurt in the standings the depth chart.
I don't think hurt per se. Last week I said I would pick Shamet, and I kind of stand on that, but I stand on it because I'm just a woman of my word, right? But I will say Malcolm looked a lot more comfortable in this offense today. Yeah. And that may just be because he's a vet and he can adjust. But we last season saw, parts of Shamet's game where he was off. but when he gets hot, he's hot, right? And so he didn't look very comfortable. His shot didn't look so waterish today. Malcolm looked a lot more comfortable. I want to see more. Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's still game one. Anything can change, when we play again. I just think today Malcolm looked a lot more comfortable in the pace of the offense.
Real easy. I'll say it more plainly. Brogdon had the better game today. He definitely had the better game in game one, but then again, it is game one. Landry looked a little rusty, and he felt a little bit out of place for especially in the first couple of minutes of his appearance. But I think that this is going to be a ongoing question throughout the entire preseason until the cuts have to be made and opening night at Madison Square Garden against Cleveland. That's going to be the ongoing question. Who, if you have to pick one or the other, do you want Malcolm Brogdon or do you want Landry Shamet? And a lot of people are going to go back and forth with that because you have a loyalty to Landry Shamet because he was here last year and he did perform well. And on top of that, you look at Malcolm Brogdon, and although he has a name, he has experience, and he has the credentials to basically be that sixth-man award winner again. The reality is that his injury history kind of negates a lot of that. So it really does come to what does Leon Rose, Gerson Rojas, and Mike and Coach Brown decide? Is like, are they going to take the risk of Malcolm Brogdon with his injury history, knowing that he's 32 years old and he's probably playing for a big contract next year, or do you go with the guy that you already that's been here and didn't really get a fair shake under Coach Thibodeau, but when you give him a chance, he can perform. So I haven't changed my decision either way. I still am kind of like indifferent on that one. I'm okay with either one, but I do have more concerns with the Malcolm Brogdon acquisition over Landry Shamet. I like Shamet more. I know him already, so I know what he can do. As opposed to Malcolm Brogdon, I know what he can do, but is he available?
My 2 cents is I like Shamet, but
I think you like saying Shamet. I think you just like saying Shamet because it rhymes with damn it.
I like Shamet, but I think Malcolm Brogdon is like more steady and has a more well-rounded game. And he's a bigger body defensively, and he's a solid defender. Shamet on defense, even though his effort and heart is in the right place, he's more times than not, physically outmatched. I do agree that Malcolm Brogdon's injury history may be a problem, but I just think the possibility of him being healthy kind of outweighs whatever Shamet does. You feel me? Like I like Shamet. I think he's a great shooter. I think he gives the effort you want defensively, like the attention, the effort is there in that respect. But I just think Malcolm Brogdon overall is a better player. I think he's a better facilitator. Shamet is a better shooter. Michael Brogdon finishes better at the rim. He has better handles. Like I think he physically
he can run an offense. He can run an offense as opposed to he brings more tools than he's definitely the more well-around player than Shamet.
And physically, defensively, he brings more to the table. He's more serviceable on that end of the floor.
Yep.
But if you ask me after one game, and this is just a knee-jerk reaction, I think Shamet hurt himself more than he helped himself today. If we're going to a place where we're looking like, all right, Deuce played really well. We have to make a decision. Deuce is our biggest trade value. and we have to make a decision. If we say we're gonna keep Deuce, now one of you guys got to go. Shamit, as like knee-jerk reaction today is the one that in my eyes is like, all right, buddy. All right, buddy, you didn't do well enough. Yeah, I mean,
No, for sure.
Well,
If
the
we had to
good,
choose today or for just today's game, yeah, Sherman got to go.
well,
yeah,
And I'm more for
fortunately,
y'all know I stand with Shamit, but if I have to go based off today's game, yeah, Malcolm stays.
yeah,
well,
yeah,
again, fortunately, it is only one game.
Right.
And secondly, this was kind of like a publicity game. This is more of an exhibition game. I mean, preseason
yeah,
is all exhibition
for
anyway.
sure.
This is in Abu Dhabi. I want to see how this team does. Of course, they have the game on Saturday morning, again with the 76ers in Abu Dhabi. And then they come back on Thursday and they play the Timberwolves at Madison Square Garden. I want to see that. I want to
Hmm.
see this under a regular, regular atmosphere in their home court, and then I want to see it on the road again, and then I can make a much more better, situation because 82 games is a long season, and again, that injury history. Okay, if we're not counting it, Malcolm Brogdon wins, but if we are counting it, wow,
Yeah,
we're doing this a lot.
yeah. I think you could carry Malcolm Brogdon through the season with his injury history. I think we're deep enough for that. I think the benefit for Malcolm Brogdon comes in the postseason. If you could keep him healthy enough to be in the postseason, having him on your roster is crazy, and he's a hell of a postseason performer when he makes it there. Hell of a postseason performer. He shows up big. Can I say the same for Shamit? I don't think I can. You know what I mean? Like, uh, but again, early. Let's see. But I got one more question about the bench and before we move on to the next topic because we trying to get out of here. People got work tomorrow, so all right. So tonight the second unit, featuring Jordan Clarkson, Deuce McBride, and others. They pulled away a little bit in the second half. Uh, Granted, this being without Joel Embiid and Paul George, and it being preseason, but does this bench have enough? Are we deep enough and have enough firepower to carry the offense when Brunson and the rest of the starters are on the bench?
Right off the bat, I think we're still short of big, and I'm still kind of curious as to who is the definitive backup point guard. If Malcolm Brogdon does not make this team, then who is your backup point guard? Is it Tyler Kolek? Is it going to be Deuce McBride? Because that is, I would like to know who's playing what position and for what purpose. So, is his bench deep enough? It's deep enough to finally make the NBA Finals, but if all things is predicted right now, and it's going to be the Knicks and the Oklahoma City Thunder in the NBA Finals, is that team good enough to beat them? It could, but I would feel a whole lot more confident and comfortable if they added something on that as a backup center. I know we have the 2 7-footers, but we're starting them. So I would like to see, I don't know if Ariel Huck-Porty or Gershon Yabusele can actually, pick up the slack all the time because, injuries and it's an 82 game season. So I would like to, if there is something out there for a center, I'd be happier. I feel a whole lot more happier.
I mean, I think we have what it takes. I think we have enough to keep us afloat until our starters come back. I mean, think about it. We had the worst bench in the league last year, and during the playoffs, they were our strength. You know what I mean? Whenever we were struggling against the Pacers and even Detroit, when we put Shamit and Deuce in, and campaign, everything turned around for us. We're so much better than that this year with Clarkson, with Yabusele, Deuce coming back, of course. I think they can keep us afloat. I don't think, they're not going to score as much, of course, as JB and Mikal and OG. But whose bench really does? Whose bench on a solid team matches what their starters do?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And yes, OKC is the champions, and I take nothing from them. But I'm gonna be honest, they ain't look good in the finals. They didn't scare me. They didn't put 100% fear in my heart of my team not being worthy of beating them.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion. Maybe I'm a crazy Knicks fan.
Nah.
Aren't we all?
Like there was games throughout the regular season and in the playoffs where I'm like, oh shit, they're really good. Like
They're dangerous.
But during the finals, they had a lot of hiccups.
So check it, right? Do I think our bench has enough firepower to carry the offense with JB and the rest of the starters on the bench? Absolutely. And it kind of depends on which variant. Nah, it don't really. But to me, the best variation of our bench, to me, needs to include Malcolm Brogdon. With the kind of players that we got, the Deuce McBride shooting, Jordan Clarkson's ability to score on all three levels, Yabusele being playing a stretch role role, or even Josh Hart in there and his ability to get downhill and attack the cup. And you add sometimes how Purdy might even get some minutes at 5. He's a lob threat. He could put pressure on the rim. You need somebody like Malcolm Brogdon that can orchestrate that. And if you have somebody that can orchestrate that, when you got guys like Jordan Clarkson who could shoot, Deuce that McBride could shoot, you got Yabusele that could spread the floor. You got guys who could spread the floor. You got guys that could slash the rim. I think offensively, our bench, there's a combination to be able to do everything. You know what I mean? Like, you got a combination that can, they're weak in the paint. You got a combination that could attack the rim. They're not closing out on a 3-point shot. You got a combination on the bench that could exploit that. Like, you got a defensive combination. You got you know what I'm saying? Like, so I think, we do have what it takes on this roster so far to, for us to carry the offense when JB and them go to the bench. It's just what version of the bench are we going to get? That's still the question mark. Who's staying? Who's going? You know what I mean? Or like Knickerbocker Ave said earlier, does everybody stay? You feel me? Like, you know what I mean?
You get to be a Knick. You get to be a Knick. You get to be a Knick.
So moving along though, you know what I mean? We're gonna go into this kind of like, I'm gonna mash these two topics together, but I'm gonna do it in, one piece. You feel me? I don't like the way that sound. Pause. So again,
I don't have the button today. I don't have that button.
So again, being that is only the first preseason game. All right, what's your biggest observation on Mike Brown's coaching philosophy after game 1?
I mean, I like the pace. It definitely looked a lot faster than last season.
Damn. So it was a second part of that question that I forgot to mention is what was your big technical difficulties? She'll be back. Mrs. Knicks will definitely be back. Oh, there she go right there. I thought I added her. And then she gone again, just that quick. So there was a second part to that question.
This is live TV, folks. I'm sorry.
How does that differ from the previous regime. Yeah, she's back. So
My
look,
bad.
it was the second part of that question too. Yeah, I mean
Oh,
that I forgot
okay.
to mention. So it was like, what was your biggest observation from Mike Brown's coaching philosophy, and how does it differ from the previous regime?
Okay. So definitely the pace was a lot faster. I liked it. Which I saw a lot less ISO than last year. Um, the passing was crisp for the most part. Or you even when it wasn't, you saw what the vision is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I liked a couple of passes that I saw from JB where he's pushing the pace in transition offense, where he threw football passes um, to the first man down, and I think it was Mikal both times, or Mikal and Jordan Clarkson. But that's stuff we didn't see last year. You know what I mean? We saw it a
Yeah.
little bit when we had Obi on our team, um, but we hadn't seen that last year per se, and as fast as we saw it today. So I definitely like that. Again, you want to do whatever it takes for defenses not to be able to set up on JB and make his job easy, right? If you catch a rebound, throw it to JB half, three-quarters way through the court, and he could football pass it up to the first man down there. Transition points are easy. We scoring 130, 140 every night, just because it makes it easy for us. We didn't see that last year. Last year, he was bringing the ball up slow. Teams were able to set their defense, um, double team him at half court, triple team him at half court. Um, and if it's all about making his job easier, which will in return makes everyone's job easier, pace is the way to go. And just seeing Mike Brown's reaction, like, yeah, it was fast paced, but we need to pick it up 4 notches. That's gonna be insane. 4 notches from what we saw today when we're used to like super slow basketball. I'm with it.
Yeah.
Well, Mrs. Nix just took all my thunder.
My
But the
bad.
reality is that um, the Knicks were dead last or close to last in pace last year, and they've been last in pace for the last few years under Coach Tom Thibodeau. And really, the philosophy hasn't changed that dramatically, but you can already see the effect of what Mike Brown does. He holds guys accountable. He keeps them in motion. He keeps defenses, honest and keeping them on a man-to-man basis. And because of that, I think 130, 140 a night. I was thinking like 120, and I think I said that a few times. I think 130, 140 a night is pretty much doable for this team with the amount of offense, the depth on this on that bench, and the fact that the guys are not just sitting around. They have a goal in mind, and they're playing unselfish basketball, which is something that is a criticism about Knick teams for the last 15
days. So the fact that the Knicks picked up the pace, and according to their coach, are still too slow. He's talking about getting to the corners quicker. He's talking about getting guys in motion more, getting guys more involved. And we were like, yo, everybody was involved today. You want more? That should just tell you right then and there that this team is not the same Tom Thibodeau team that we were so used to for the last 5 years, or any of the old Knick teams where they were disorganized. They played selfish basketball. It was pretty much mellow or bust, or hero ball or bust, and that was it.
Yeah.
You got a collective of very good talent all playing together with one goal in mind. And so I think that Mike Brown today, he should be proud of the performance that his team did today. And yes, it's okay. We could always utilize and experience more improvement. But I think that today's performance, even though it's just a preseason game against a lowly, disabled Philadelphia 76er team, this team is going to be a freaking problem, a huge freaking problem.
So I'm probably just going to echo a lot of the stuff that was already said. But I'm in my little corner looking at my phone, and the first quarter is over, and I'm like, I ain't see one ISO play.
Right. Right.
I ain't
You
see
even
no
saw too much passing, right? You like,
word.
okay,
I
what are
ain't see
y'all doing?
one ISO play. And I'm not saying that as a bad thing, just something that I'm just not used to seeing with, this Knicks team. And it is refreshing. I do see the ball movement. I do see the vision of, where the baskets, he want the baskets to come from. I've seen a lot of down screens going towards the cup and guys passing from the wings into the paint on those cuts to try to get easy buckets. Seen a lot of, guys, what he said in training camp, a lot of guys running to those corners and some nice passes coming from the paint to those corners for open threes. It's going to be exciting to see, especially if he talking about play faster. But I do see the opportunities and where Mike Brown is talking about, Coach Brown is talking about, because it was plays that I was like, all right, come on now, push the ball up the court. We got the rebound, we out. But I do see the opportunities for us to play even faster, even though we were playing up tempo. As good as the Knicks have been the last 3 years, that's one place that we suffered, and I think we could have what's the word I'm looking for? Not that we could. I don't know, but we could have used that. I mean, this word I'm looking for, but we could have used that a lot more on this team, having better pace over the last 3 years, because as good as we were offensively, we could have been just a little bit better if we played with a little bit more haste to our game. But unselfish basketball, moving the basketball, getting the ball up the court. Yeah, I mean, guys is getting the ball and in transition, they taking one dribble and passing. It's looking like college offense. I kind of like it. I'm not mad. You feel me? Because that's what happens in the college game. Dudes don't do a lot of dribbling, especially in transition. You get a dribble or two, you pass the ball up the court. You know what I mean? So you have to take advantage of teams when they're trying to match up. And I think over the last 3 years, that's somewhere that we failed. You know what I mean? Not being able to consistently take advantage of people in transition. But yeah, it is definitely refreshing to see. I want to see more. I want to see where this offense can actually be. With the kind of athletes we got on this team, playing fast should not be an issue, especially with the depth we have. We should be able to run with anybody or run them out of the gym. That's just the fact of the matter with the depth and the athletes we got on this team. But to keep the thing moving, pause, that was crazy. So boom, Jalen Brunson had a calm day today, again, all being preseason. Yeah, I mean, 6.4 assists. But from the parts that I've seen, he ran the offense effectively. So the question is this. Did Brunson show the calm and mature leadership that's required to run the offense? And being in a less ball dominant system, or do he still need to be more aggressive to feel comfortable in his game?
I'll answer because I gotta run after this because
All right, bet.
we on the move. I think he looked pretty comfortable. Whenever you're asking someone to do something different, there takes adjustment, right? And so it's tough off of one game, but he didn't look uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It looked to me, at some points in the first quarter, looked like he was looking to involve people more than I thought he would. Let me say that. I thought, a couple of passes, a couple of assists, and then he'll just go back to, you know, trying to score. Um, but I should have known better. JB just wants to win. You know what I mean? He just wants to win as a Knick, and so he's gonna do whatever is asked of him. Um, I think he'll be just fine. Nothing in his game today made me be like, yeah, this shit ain't gonna work.
Jalen Brunson is a proven winner in almost every level he's played at, except for this one. And I'm sure that it eats at him every single day that he doesn't have it yet. So I don't think. Will there be some woes here and there? I think that there might, but honestly, to be honest, Jalen Brunson is a dog. That dude wants to win. He wants to win here. Everything that he's done thus far shows you that. And whatever adjustments that Coach Brown is going to give him, whatever assignment that he's going to give him, whatever, moment that he taps him on the shoulder and tells him, I need you to dominate this game the way I know you can, he's going to do it. So I don't have will there be some adjustment issues? I'm sure there will be, but I don't think that Jalen Brunson is that kind of guy that he won't be able to make the necessary adjustments and evolve his game to another level, to where they're not talking about, the Stephen Currys or the LeBron Jameses or the John Morants or the Trey Youngs of the world. They're going to be talking about Jalen Brunson, and his jersey will be the number one selling jersey this season. That's just me.
So I agree. But so it's not a but. It's and. And I feel like it's going to be a natural aggression that happens with JB scoring today. Like before, I felt like a lot of the scoring he did was forced. Like I'm going to make this bucket happen. No matter what you do, I'm about to make this bucket happen. Just looking at the way that the offense is ran, I spoke about it earlier. It was a play that he was, cutting to the basket and Cat missed him. And it's because it was a design play to get JB an open look at the rim. You know what I mean? Shout out to 600 subscribers. Sis just text the group chat. You know what I mean? We just eclipsed 600 subscribers. Shout out to everybody in the chat, in the comments. Shout out to everybody that tune in on a nightly basis. Shout out to everybody who subscribed. But to keep going with my thought, I think he's just gonna get natural, easy buckets. You know what I mean? And then when the fourth quarter come in those games where we need JB to be who he be, that's what's going to happen. Even Mike Brown said at that much. You feel me? He said we want to give him easy buckets during the course of the game because we know in the fourth quarter the ball's going to be in his hands. So I think that kind of aggression will come in spurts throughout the game when it needs to, because it's going to be nice that even with ball movement, guys' shot may not be falling. And this is why you have a superstar on your team, because you go, hey, the other guys ain't got it tonight. We need you to save us and bring this game home. You feel me? So, yeah, like I said, I think these things is going to happen naturally, man. Like, I think, like Knickerbocker Ave said, he's a proven winner in almost every level of basketball. He's going to do what's necessary to get us the dub. Yeah, I mean, just like everybody else on this team pretty much said, all they care about is winning. You feel me? And we see that's the mantra. We're gonna see how much that really matters throughout the season. All right, to wrap this bad boy up, right? we spoke a lot of good. Spoke a lot of good today. Yeah, I mean, so I'm gonna force you to think about something bad. So not necessarily a bad, right? But
More like
so
a needs improvement.
yeah. So the question is simply this: what is your major takeaway or concern that emerged from this game that the team need to address before the season opener?
I need to see more from Pacome Dadier. I need to see a little bit more from Ariel Hukporty. And I need to see a little bit more of Mohamed Diawara. Those three guys in particular. I'm not including Tyler Kolek in there because I know what he can do. I just hope that he would have more time and he would be able to show it more. But those three guys in particular, since we don't know so much about them, we don't know a lot about Ariel Hukporty aside from that, he can be a dog when he needs to be. We don't know a lot about Pacome Dadier, and he started today. And I think our own group chat kind of like referenced that because I mentioned both those guys specifically. It's like I was pointing out the things that I didn't like about them, and then they do something good. And so like, all right, so the talent is there. The drive is there. Everything is there. You're getting the opportunity to display that. Now I want you to do that more consistently and evolve. Because if this team is for sure raising the Larry O'Brien come June, we need those guys too. And I'm hoping that and I'm sure that this video or this clip is going to get sent to them. I need them to see it. We believe in you. We know that if the talent is there, I need you to show it to us so you can earn the love and respect of every other Knick fan that is already supporting you, already behind you, already passionate about you, and they want to see you succeed. So Pacome Dadier, Ariel Hukporty, Mohamed Diawara, and the rest of the New York Knicks.
Yeah. So
it's time.
So my major concern, not major, my only concern, yeah, I have to agree with you, is Pacome Dadier, because we had a point. We had a point where you gotta put up or shut up, right? We not at development stage anymore. You feel me? Like this is not the team that we got 3 years to wait for you to develop, because there's other dogs on the team that's like, hey, I can help you win right now. You know what I mean? And the person that we didn't even talk about today, who had a pretty damn good game, was Garrison Mathews. He was 3 for 4 from 3-point range. That kid could shoot. He's a certified sniper.
What did I say he was? He was like Steve Novak 2025 edition. Like, yo, I wanted to do that.
Hey. So, that's somebody else that's gunning for your spot on the team, dog. You feel me? Like, I know it's only preseason for everybody else who has a guaranteed spot on this roster. This ain't preseason for you, gang.
This is tryout.
Word. It's time to put up or shut up. But other than that, there's nothing yet I've seen that I really wanna, that I feel that needs to be fixed. Yeah, I mean, I think we have a great collection of talent. I like the idea of what the coach is trying to do to maximize everybody on the roster. And I just think it's going to be a great season. That's all I got, for today. Unless you want to add something else, I go.
All I got to say is be sure, ladies and gentlemen, to continue to like, comment, follow, and subscribe. If you want if you have a question for us, hit us up on the super chat. And again, thank you so much so far for everybody who showed up today. Thank you for 600 subscribers. Let's keep that number growing. Sharing is caring.
You know the vibes.
And I'm pretty sure I'm missing something. I gotta say something, right? Because Fraz is usually here to say it.
Somebody gotta say it.
All right. Well, I said it with energy. So I got to do it again. Hit the outro!
Mic check 1, 2. Tell these rappers I'm outside, get them start acting up. Turning hoes to housewives and cleaning the ratchet up. Do it off from boom back to melody rap. If they gon' put you in the box, then you might as well pack it up. Bars having bars, no cap, I'm Attica, you a precinct. How y'all competing when y'all just decent? Your rhyme efficiency's like logic simplicity. Don't tell me how much that you black, cause I don't see it. That's it. Fuck everybody on the front. When we get on the finals.